What is going on, you guys? My name is Rayge, and we are back today with an exciting Green Goblin Classic event here on difficulty 7. As you can see, activating actually all of the packs. So I want to showcase for you guys each and every team. I also have some gameplay footage of some of the harder nodes, so that way it can help you guys go through it. But please keep in mind, because I'm focused on difficulty 7, I didn't build up new Avengers. So obviously some of my teams are very overtuned. But allow me to showcase for you guys now each of the teams that I use for each of the node tabs, as well as some of the gameplay footage for some of the harder nodes in my honest opinion. So starting things off with node 1 here, we fully utilize the full team power of the Nowhere team, just because with the war buff activated for the packs, they did exceptionally well, great value, and the fact that you also need this team for Black Hats unlock anyways, it's great that you can double dip here. Next up, we got the full Rebirth squad here. As you can see, super overtuned, just because I had both Captain Carter and Captain America for my Dark Dimension 6 run, and amazing value to utilize, especially since you're using them for the incursion raids. Mission 3 here, I was finally able to bring in my Green Goblin Classic after finishing difficulty 6. So you can see, even while at Red Stars, he's doing just fine with my Sinister 6 team dynamic, as well as Black Cat being that prominent member of the team, especially having brought her up for Dark Dimension 6. We got Mission 4 here, utilizing aspects of the Global Blasters. So I did do a couple of changes here, which really help in my honest opinion. I found with this team, they did lack healing. So I switched my Gambit to Healer Isolate, and also having Ultron on the team provide some additional buffs, especially with the Ultron bots. As you can see, these team levels worked exceptionally well. I didn't bring up anybody else since the event started. Now, Mission 5 here for tech, super easy. I mean, all of these characters are meta. I actually used the majority of them for Dark Dimension 6, so just super straightforward. The one thing I will comment on is make sure you save your Kang ultimate. As you'll see in some gameplay footage for the node later on, it's going to be extremely important, especially when we're up against the double Hulks. The Red Hulks in, I believe, Mission 9. We do now have here Mission 6. Standard as usual, Rebirth team easily cleaning up. Okay, and then with Mission 7 here, we have City Villains once again, making short work of these guys with this dynamic. Very good. I do believe, I think I'd have gameplay footage of this node as well, just because this was definitely trickier with a weaker Green Goblin, and the timing of the attacks was definitely important. Mission 8 we have here, once again, back to Global Blasters. Super straightforward with the sustain and healing here. I didn't see that there's any issues whatsoever. And then finally wrapping things up with the same team, and again making sure that you save Kang's ultimate for this node, because it can be quite tricky against those Red Hulks if you're not careful. Now guys, I want to stress this before you start watching the gameplay on node 10, because I was able to get it done with just Rebirth and all the packs activated. However, it did take me quite some time to get the right RNG, and I do not recommend this, guys, because I had 1.3 million, 2 Gear Tier 18 characters in Carter and both America, and it still was very difficult, guys. So if you're watching this and you only have Rebirth, please go ahead, deactivate the war buff benefit, because that's only going to create more havoc for you, and you'll see exactly why in my gameplay. But having said that, guys, now let me show you the final run score. Now, even after finally going through all of difficulty 7 with every pact activated, we're going to claim now all of the shards. I want to show you guys where the shortfall is. So my math was incorrect, unfortunately, with my last video, which is the fact that obviously we thought we were going to get the 4-star unlock immediately, but hitting 1.1 million points, which is shy of that 250k. Those extra 25 shards are missing right now. Now, thankfully, upon the conclusion of this event, there is going to be a minimum payout of at least 30 shards. So we hit the 4-star goal, guys. It is what it is at this point. We didn't have to invest in the new Avengers, but yeah, a 4 yellow star is likely going to be the payout here. Hopefully I can get at least a 3 red on Green Goblin, hopefully in this top 15-20%. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out, because I'm curious how many folks are only just going to stick with difficulty 7, obviously, and then we'll see how that math payout is going to work for difficulty 8 and beyond. So there you guys have it. Hope you guys enjoyed this quick video. Now let's dive into the gameplay here of all the nodes that I thought were challenging. So starting things off here, we do go up against an Infestation team with our Rebirth team on node 6. And I wanted to make this video because of the fact that you might have to be careful in the attack order, but I do go through it pretty cleanly, so I wanted to showcase for you guys here. Now, the other important item to note is obviously the big time Spider-Mans are of importance, and we know that there's going to be some follow-up here with Swarm. A couple of them actually grouped up, and they can do a lot of bleed, so you do want to be strategic here. I opt to actually use the defense up there special, but remember, we want to conserve our energy at the end of this node as well, because we'll be prepping for the last and final node, which is very difficult if you have all the packs activated. But yeah, just something to be mindful of. Save the ultimate here from Ancient Venom, just because of the fact that it's going to be necessary once the swarms come. But again, we want to be very, very mindful of cooldowns, because before you know it, especially if you have a built up Captain Carter and Captain America like myself, these guys can drop pretty hard once you get the right attack in. So we're just going here, we're just doing work and finishing that backside there with the big time. They definitely should take precedence just because they have a lot of evasion. And then as for Yellow Jacket and Ant-Man, they're honestly just noise. Let them be. Go ahead and use the adjacent attacks and the chain attacks to finish them off. So once you're able to get that done here, the 3 swarms do actually spawn here, and that's when you want to time the Agent Venom ultimate, doing as much damage as you can. At this point, try to see if you can focus big time, but as well, obviously being mindful of these swarms, because once they get their abilities to go off, they are able to apply a lot of bleed to our team. So that is something you want to be mindful of. The other thing too as well is just be careful with the cooldowns here. 8 out of 13 enemies remaining here, and you do want to be careful that you end off this node anyways in a good position, so that way you're not having to stretch your cooldowns when you start things off in the last and final attack node. Yeah, even at my characters, most of them being gear tier 16, and then Captain Carter and America being 18, you can see they're already starting to scale really well because of these characters and teams getting a lot of the war buffs, right? And that's something to be mindful of. So 6 out of 13 remaining here. The Black Widows are pretty easy picking, but make sure you focus again on the swarms just because they can do a lot of damage. Thankfully, they're pretty squishy. So I actually opted to use the ultimate there of Captain Carter to finish up, but honestly, you could have probably just used the basic and specials too. But there we go, clean, easy follow-up, and we have good cooldowns for the last node. Next up here, we do have, you know, the city villain second node here, because we're up against some fellow horsemen. So from the beginning here, guys, I do think that having Black Cat on the team is going to make things a lot easier. As you can see, we do go ahead and activate Green Goblin's special there. It absolutely reduces all of Morgan Le Fay's, you know, turn meter, which is absolutely huge, just to see the value already he has, despite not having red stars. And he's only, I think, 60 or 70,000 in total combat power. So he definitely made a difference, even though he was hugely under level for this. So we go ahead, we're going to damage Morgan slightly with the clones here, but we do want to be focused on that left cluster there with the Doctor Strange Heartlesses, just because if they get their abilities to go off, it can be very, very dangerous. Thankfully, we were able to capitalize and use Black Cat special, and you can see that's just a sample of how important she is in this wave and team, just because of the fact that she can take down the enemies. She's built up very good as well. She's a huge difference maker, even though we only have, you know, obviously 4 members of the Sinister / Superior 6 members, and then that does spawn actually another powerful wave here, consisting of Death Seed mainly, right? So you want to be aiming for Magneto in this wave, just because if he gets his ultimate off, it could be bad news for us. So we do want to focus that. So we got Green Goblin's beautiful, you know, aesthetically pleasing ultimate there to apply some heal blocks. Obviously he doesn't hit too hard just yet because of his combat power, but I mean, we can now just focus in on Magneto. Shortly afterwards, you are going to see that more characters do spawn there, including Rogue. Just again, more horsemen. There's an apocalypse that's waiting for us at the very end. But again, this is kind of where Black Cat's damage comes in, right? We feel pretty good about Magneto, so we go ahead, we finish off Nemesis, and now we're just slowly taking apart the Death Seed team. And even though my Sinister 6 team is honestly not that built up, gear tier 14, gear tier 15, they're doing amazing work here with the synergy of Green Goblin. So finally, we have Apocalypse here spawning, and perhaps the most important reason why you need Black Cat is because she's going to be doing the most damage here, obviously, to Apocalypse. But first and foremost, we have to focus on the surrounding cast. In this case, Archangel has stayed long enough. We're going to go ahead. We do actually have Mysterio special there too to actually land the ability block and blind on Apocalypse, which is absolutely huge for us. Going ahead here now, we can finally finish off Rogue, and yeah, the blinds are really saving us. Even though Archangel is blinded, he can actually still get his ultimate off, so just be mindful of that. But it buys us another turn to kind of focus here and do some work. Absolutely love Vulture's ultimate, just in being able to turn, rewind, but as well doing some AoE damage as well. And then once again, guys, you'll see my Black Cat at work. Just look at how much damage she does because she's at gear tier 18, right? And again, I realized that, guys, this may not be relatable just because you folks may not have a gear tier 18 Black Cat. But again, if you have her at 16, 15, she's gonna be able to get the job done with her really potent, powerful special and ultimate ability. So it's absolutely crucial, in my honest opinion, to have a character like her for this, especially since Mysterio also gives her additional HP, being classified as that Spider-Verse character. There you guys have it, the wrap here for the second node of City Villains. Again, having Black Cat is very, very important for this node, guys. And my goodness, perhaps the reason why it took me so long to get difficulty 7 was because I was trying to get this done. But yeah, guys, using Rebirth with all the packs activated, my Rebirth team here is 1.3 million. My goodness, this is an extremely, extremely difficult node. I do not recommend turning on the war buffs if you guys are planning to take the Rebirth route, because even if you do that, like again, my 1.3 million team had difficulties getting through this, and you'll see why in this gameplay footage, just because they have so much synergies here. I'm trying to target that left side with Moondragon. And keep in mind too, right, you know, they have all their charges, especially the Heroes for Hire, more specifically though Colleen Wing and Misty Knight. They're constantly getting their abilities to go off. So I'm focusing on Moondragon to get rid of the heals, but as well, one of the packs activated is that when you do flip their HP below that 50%, it does flip. And as you can see, I think that's the big difference maker here in strategy. By doing so, I was able to flip a lot of their charges away and then do a significant amount of damage thanks to Agent Venom here. And as you can see, you know, like the Shang-Chi is almost taken down. All his charges are gone. Same with Misty Knight. Colleen Wing still has hers, but this was an absolute slugfest, guys. Getting through that initial section, the amount of heal blocks they're inflicting, the ability blocks, you can see it gets very, very close for even myself here in this successful run through, right? So at this point, a couple of your allies may fall, but still continue to do work on Shang-Chi. He's definitely the most important character to take down. Even though we focus on that top left, it's because we took down enemies that didn't have revives and additional charges outside of Heroes for Hire, right? So that's kind of why my logic was there. We go ahead, we finally get a chance to finish off Shang-Chi, and we can't breathe for a sec here. Now, things are looking a little shady here with how things are looking, but thankfully, it's really the synergy of Captain Carter and Captain America keeping this team afloat, because by them being able to revive characters, being able to cleanse, even though there's that pack that it flips all the positive buffs to negatives, and conversely, whenever that health threshold's reached, that's the reason why we were able to get through so efficiently in the very beginning here. And now it is just focusing again on these main characters that are consisting of the Heroes for Hire. As you can see, we hit pretty hard, but it's just they're dynamic, these characters, and having the synergy of their charges. And like I said, you just see that dynamic right there where it gets flipped. So you do want to be kind of mindful of which enemies you're hitting, because the moment it drops below 50%, it will flip everything, right? And that's why having two cleansers on the team like Captain Carter and Captain America makes it a big, big deal. So now finally we get a chance here to wrap up the last and final wave here. And as you can see, we're going up against Shang-Chi again, who's a huge pain point here, right? I do not recommend aiming for him in this last node first. We want to take out the surrounding cast first and foremost. So having a character like Agent Venom, being able to use all of his abilities to be able to take down as much enemies as possible. Again, the only thing you can really do is maybe apply offense down, but then the thing is if you bring Shang-Chi below that 50% threshold, he's going to be granting energy again for himself and getting the charges again. So that's kind of why we're you know, taking care of the surrounding cast first, and then actually targeting Shang-Chi. There we go, and we finally are able to take down another one of the Colleen Wings there, leaving these three here. And again, guys, the game plan is just to finish off the surrounding cast first. Colleen Wing is a good one because she also has the heal blocks as well. And then Echo isn't really part of the team, but you know, thankfully she doesn't have charges and she can't hold it with this fellow respective Heroes for Hire team. And thankfully, thanks to the synergy of both Captain Carter and Captain America, well, first of all, being gear tier 18 because I brought them to Dark Dimension 6, but as well, them being able to constantly cleanse, we were able to get this far and actually slowly bring back our team. But that's not to say that Shang-Chi still does amazing damage, because again, he has all the war buffs, all the packs are activated. So it's just a very, very scary node, guys, especially if you have the war buff on. Looking back into it now, and after the numerous times I've had to reset, I do not recommend it. If you guys are watching this, you're planning to go through all difficulty 7 with just Rebirth, highly recommend just, you know, not actually activating the war buffs, because it makes it so much harder. So super excited here at this point. Just fast forwarding, just save you guys a bit of time, but we are finally able to get the finish here. And this was such a huge sigh of relief, because it did take me quite some time to get to this point. And again, it's because Shang-Chi is such an absolute beast in this last node, especially with the number of charges he gets and his fellow synergies with Heroes for Hire and getting that war buff benefit, right? So Rebirth typically can't take down Heroes for Hire in war, so that's kind of the equivalent to what we're dealing with. But as you guys can see here, that's when we got the rank score. So thank you as always. I hope this helps you guys in your guys' gameplay, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.